Everybody, it's Nikki with Delicate Tension Tarot. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you just have a lot of strong Aries placements in your chart. A good example I like to use is that my Mars is in Aries, which is its home sign, so it's a little accentuated or exalted in that space. So yeah, it really all depends on what you're trying to look at. If you're here for relationship, I mean, Sun, Moon, and Rising can work. Sometimes Venus works better. Maybe even check to see what's in your 7th house. If you're not sure of what your full chart is, you can always find out by downloading the CoStar app, or you can go to cafeastrology.com and put in your info there and get a free birth chart as well. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about real quick? We have a new moon in Taurus on the 21st or 22nd. I'm not sure. I feel like I need to look now that I'm like thinking about it. It should be a really nice grounding moon. A lot of focus will probably be on your physical environment, your home. Maybe, ways in which you can possibly like change up what's in your environment. So it might be tidying the home, it might be cleaning things out, it might be painting, it might be decorating. Whatever it is, it's very, to me it's like creature comfort energy. So utilize that for sure for the new moon. I think it's going to be a very nice, lovely moon. We also have Venus in its retrograde shadow period in Gemini. That can bring up a lot of past people, especially like lovers, back into our lives. It can be an opportunity to take an old relationship that might have been burned out and find solutions to create a new relationship. That's all up to you on personal preference on how you want to handle that. Let's see, new moon in Taurus here. So it's on the 23rd, close enough. So yeah, get excited about that. But just take your time. I mean, the retrograde period's probably going to last until I think mid-June. And just, be aware. I mean, if somebody comes back into your life, you don't have to give it another try, but usually it's kind of like there's interesting karmic implications around certain lessons that might have been digested or still need to be digested, and it's an opportunity to adjust certain karmic situations where maybe, there's still some forgiveness that needs to happen. Either way, just take care of yourself, do what's best for you, that's all that matters. And with that being said, I'm going to get started on your reading. This is for April 15th through the 30th. Once again, I hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope you guys are taking care of yourself and staying inside. What is happening for Aries for April 15th through the 30th? It's pretty rainy and dreary here today in California, so I'm fairly bundled up. What's happening for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for April 15th through the 30th? We have the Page of Pentacles and we have the Page of Cups. So this can not only be an offer, it seems like it's, it's trying to start out on solid ground. This could also be you looking at your finances or looking at your expenses, seeing what it is that you can do with what you have. I mean, looking at this, I am getting some new moon in Taurus vibes, so maybe there's going to be something happening around the 23rd. But yeah, I think while your mind is on something else, somebody might have their mind on you as well. Somebody might be offering you something. You guys might not be on the same page though. I feel like your mind might be a little more practical and theirs might be a little more emotional. take that as it resonates, by the way. It can't always be vice versa. If you aren't involved with anyone in a relationship sense, it could simply be somebody in your environment, like a family member, business partner, friend, child. What's the block here for Aries? 9 of Swords. So there might be a little bit of anxiety right now for you. You might actually just be experiencing a lot of intense feelings. The thing that I don't want to say like about the 9 of Swords, but what I like about the 9 of Swords is that oftentimes it's about what happens when we're left to our own, imagination, and our imagination runs wild, and usually that cranks up the intensity of the anxiety that we have. It's where we lay awake in bed at night thinking about all the worst case scenarios and become very overwhelmed by the vast potentials of the future that we're thinking up. So there's something here where it's like, I think you need to either counteract that as best as you can with trying to apply more logic to those moments. And if you have a hard time finding logic, then I suggest that maybe you need to be reaching out to one of these people to kind of hear their take or perspective on something, because maybe they can help kind of bring you down from that energy or give you a different perspective to look at. It also might be really good if you do kind of tap into a little bit of childlike energy to help you with this intensity that you're feeling right now. So let's see what's happening in your subconscious. What's happening in Aries subconscious here? We have the 6 of Swords. So you are trying to move out of those difficult waters, but it seems like you're still kind of like stuck in limbo with how you're moving through it. I mean, especially with the 9 of Swords being your block. You might still be dealing with any, if there has been any uncomfortable losses or perceived losses, like if you feel like something's falling away out of your life, it might still take some time for you to move through the acceptance of that. But I do see that you're trying, like there's an effort being put in here to, you know, get out of this uncomfortable and rough territory into calmer or smoother waters. Let's see what happened in the recent past here. I think you definitely have somebody in your environment, no matter what their age range is. This can be a really young person, like literally a child, or it could be somebody who simply has a childlike spirit, but there is somebody around you who, like, I really feel like there's something about their perspective that you need to allow into your life, because I feel like it's like while you're thinking about more practical things, maybe it's finances, maybe it's a way to like ground out certain things in your life, they may be like spouting off what seems like nonsense to you, but really there's something there. Like I feel like they can help you come up with really interesting ideas to advance a little bit in your life. I know it sounds strange, but I really feel like you need to be taking that in right now. We have the 8 of Pentacles in the recent past, so you might have been working really hard on something to get yourself out of a difficult situation. Maybe you've been in 5 of Pentacles energy for a really long time. Like maybe you just felt like you could never catch up. But also it might have been that in that process of being in 5 of Pentacles energy, maybe you shifted into 2 of Pentacles energy, which was you either juggling 2 projects, 2 things, something there. And those 2 projects could have been connected to other people as well. So it was like you were spreading yourself a little thin. I mean, it's great to network, and I think it was a good idea for you to network at the time. But I feel like you shifted out of that and you started solely focusing on your own stuff. And I feel like in focusing on your own stuff, get your shit together first, and then you can reconnect back to other people and kind of spread out your roots or your branches into those other projects. Let's see what's happening in your higher self. That's nice. We have the 3 of Cups. So you may be finding a nice balance right now in your environment, or at least in your mind. Because we have the Queen of Swords in reverse, and then we have the 2 of Swords in reverse. I think you're taking this opportunity right now to really attempt and try to make the conscious decision to get out of your head. I think you're trying to embrace the people that you have around you. I think you're trying to find the small blessings or little celebrations within your environment. I think you're also maybe either communing with creative people in your environment. There's something here about working with others, but it's not like, it's not work. I feel like I don't think it has anything to do with work. It's more of like a collaboration and an expansion that kind of enhances creative elements in your life through other people. But it's not work, but you can apply it to work. That's why it seems really interesting. Let's see what's happening in the near future here. That's some healing. We got 5 of Cups in reverse and the 8 of Wands. I think you're going to have a very, very, you're going to have a really big breakthrough. You're going to have a really big breakthrough. I feel like something's about to come in and carry you. It's almost like you're being airlifted. But something's helping you get to the other side. Like, I feel like, you know, in the 6 of Swords card, it's someone in a boat. They're having to go across the river in a boat because there's not a bridge, right? And in the 5 of Cups in reverse, there's a river behind him. And then in the 8 of Wands, the wands are kind of, you know, they're shown going over this river. So I really do feel as if something is coming and it's lifting you out of this energy, and it's really going to start really gaining a lot of momentum for you. I think you were going through a period where you were kind of in the lower aspect or the lower spot of the Wheel of Fortune, and now you're kind of like coming back up. So you're really moving through that cycle nicely. Like, I feel like you're about to come up out of the down. And I feel like it's because of the people in your environment or the people that you're connected to. There's these sharing of perspectives that are, I don't want to say they vary greatly from yours, but they're just different. They come from a different place. They come from a different kind of spirit than the spirit you've been in. Let's see what's happening in your emotional sector. We have the Knight of Cups, so that's somebody's following their heart. We have the Star. They're going towards healing. That's a very hopeful energy. That's a very heightened and hopeful energy. I mean, emotionally, you could also be wondering if somebody is going to be coming towards you with a message. We do have the Artist in reverse, though, so I feel like there's still some... Sorry. Sometimes when I lay cards out, I'll start like, there's things that kind of start flooding, and I'm trying to figure out how to say it instead of just saying it right in the moment. Don't be a product of your environment or your prior environment, because this is really requesting you to create who you want to be, where you want to be, and who you want to be there with. Like, it's not physically manifested yet. I still think it's some kind of like, it's trapped in this dream state, or it's trapped in this dream world, but it's coming. Like, I feel like it's moving into the physical. But I think emotionally you don't feel like it is. Because it's still, I feel like you just feel as if you're a dreamer, right? You're just somebody who consistently or constantly dreams all day long, and you're so hopeful for the future it is that you have in mind. But I feel like it's almost as if you have to be open to that dream taking some sort of natural form. You have to allow it to come into the physical, because I think it's trying to. Let's see what's happening around you. This is vastly different energy from your first 2 weeks. So the Wheel of Fortune in reverse as to what's happening around you. We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Six of Wands. So that's what I was talking about with kind of, you know, it's not, this is time to focus on your own projects, because I think when you were connected to multiple different outlets or multiple different groups or people, it's not that those people weren't good for you. It's just that it wasn't the time. Like, I feel like whatever you got out of those situations, it did help you grow. It did help whatever it is that you're working on grow, or whatever it is that you're doing grow. But I just feel like it's like, there's a huge reason as to why you're having to go back to the beginning to find resolution in something, like karmic resolution in something. And I think that you have this ability right now to reconnect with the people in your environment in a different way with the knowledge that you have now. Even though you feel like it doesn't seem like much, it's more than you can understand. Because this is you coming home victorious. This is you coming home as a different person. This is you being crowned in your environment for simply being who you are. And I think you need to like take a step back and see that that really is what's happening. Like, it may not play out in your mind the way that you would like for it to, or the way that, you know, you hope that it would be. But if you really take it in and you allow it to be what it is, I think you can find real value there. We have the Tower in your hopes and fears. So I think you're a little nervous of like, if the energy for this 2 weeks is super good for you, I feel like you're worried about what comes after. I think you're worried about getting dealt another blow. I don't necessarily feel for you. I mean, thank God it's in your hopes and fears and not in your outcome. So yeah, let's take a look at the future outcome or advice. What is the future advice or outcome for Aries here, please? So we have Judgment. You get some big cards here. We got Temperance. 2 major arcana so far in your outcome, which is beautiful. Yeah, this is going back to the beginning. This is and Strength. Massive major arcana there. I kind of want to pull one more, but I don't know. We have the Ten of Swords in reverse with the Ace of Swords. That's ultimate truth and clarity and victory. And then we have the Moon. So yeah, I think around the maybe it's from the Libra full moon moving into the Taurus new moon. I think on the Taurus new moon, you're going to be feeling very good. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of truth and a lot of understanding that you kind of move through this next 2 weeks with and into the near future, because I feel like, as I was saying, this is an opportunity to cycle back to the beginning. It's an opportunity to really rediscover and resurrect what it is that hadn't been dealt with, and to look at it from a whole new perspective, because you're a different person now. And I feel like through that understanding, you're finding a lot of balance within yourself, and you're really seeing how strong it is that you have been, and how much of you've tamed this beast within you. There's something that you dealt with for a really long time, and I'm not saying that I feel like you held on to it, but with the Ten of Swords in reverse, it's kind of like, normally when I look at that card, the swords are falling out of the person's back, but with it in between Strength and next to the Ace of Swords, it's almost like you had to discover and overcome these things on your own, because you were the only person who could remove those swords. Nobody could do it for you. And I think you've finally done it. Like, I kind of, makes me want to cry for you. I don't know why it makes me tear up a little bit, but that's really awesome. Because I think you did go through a really hard time. And I think the fact that you were able to find this whole new level of truth and clarity within your situation for what you dealt with and carried for such a long time is absolutely beautiful, because this is, I mean, like, this is a reconnection and resurrection of who you are at the soul. It's not about what's been done to you. And it makes me think of, I was watching a video from Ascension Tarot today, and she said this line that was like, pain is our greatest teacher, or pain is one hell of a teacher. And it kind of made me laugh because I was like, you know, that's really true, and it really does all depend on what you do with the pain. And I think you've transcended. You transcended and you did something. Alchemically, you did something with the pain. You turned it into something else that has allowed you to overcome some of these really intense and honestly some of the greatest obstacles in your life. So let's pull some clarifiers here. Let me see how much time I have. 12 minutes. Okay. I kind of want to clarify the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups here, because I want to see like if these really are two separate entities or if it's just you, like two different sides of you. So let's clarify the Page of Pentacles here. So clarifying the Page of Pentacles, we have the Page of Cups and the Five of Wands in reverse. So I think it's time, you know, for you to, maybe these are two aspects of yourself that have either, you know, been battling out. Like maybe, you know, the childlike aspect of yourself that is this free and impulsive and intuitive creature has been kind of bogged down with reality lately and looking at the more practical side. And I feel like it's almost one of those things where it's like, no, you can experience both. You can use both, especially with temperance in your outcome. You can experience both. You can use both of those things at the same time because each of them has something to give you. Let's clarify the Page of Cups here. We have the Eight of Wands in reverse. Yeah, that child-like spirit, your inner child was like, can you please stop working for a second and just, let's reconnect. We need to reconnect here because part of you is losing your spark. Yeah, and the Five of Swords. So there was a lot of challenge and a lot of changes that you've been through recently. Honestly, it's almost like I don't think anybody in your environment was fighting with you. I think you were fighting with yourself. I mean, it is quite possible that you also had somebody say something to you that made you realize that you were a little too, like, focused on more, like, the serious matters like money, tangible things. That could have been ways in which you talk to yourself as well, but it does feel like it came from another person. But I feel like it's like the way that it was delivered. I'll put it this way, sometimes kids say the craziest stuff. Like, they don't have a filter, so when they say stuff, it's very direct, it's very clear, it's not sugar-coated. So it could have even been that, like, maybe you heard somebody say something and you were just kind of like, oh wow, like, that's really true, like, I never realized how true that is. That's a very random thing to say, but, you know, that's kind of what it is that I'm getting off of this. Let's clarify the Nine of Swords here for your block. We have Seven of Cups in reverse and Justice in reverse. I think with the Nine of Swords there, with that anxiousness and worry, I think part of you is, or either is or was concerned. It could be is. But I feel like from the block of what the heart is of the issue is, I feel like you constantly felt like you were fighting a current. Like you were wondering why things in your life weren't balancing out. You were wondering why every time you felt like you were making the right choice that nothing ever panned out. And I mean, like, don't shoot the messenger, but I really do think it's because you had to go back to the beginning. There's something that wasn't dealt with and there's something that wasn't tackled. That's what karma's all about, right? Like, it'll keep showing up through different people, places, or things in different ways until we, you know, find resolve in the situation before we can really receive what it is that's trying to come to us. Let's clarify this Five of Cups and the Eight of Wands. Or Five of Cups reversed, Eight of Wands in the upright, and then your future. Clarify the Five of Cups in reverse for me, please. So with the Five of Cups in reverse, we have the Six of Cups. That's finding healing through family, healing through really important soul bonds or ties. We have the Six of Pentacles. I feel like it's finally time for you to receive something from that area of your life. With the Nine of Cups in reverse, because at the end of the day, you're not going to really be able to accept or find or receive what it is that you really want until death comes in, until this change comes in, this release. but I feel like it's happening because with the Five of Cups in reverse, you are healing. You're definitely healing through your environment, healing through receiving and giving things in different ways. Let's clarify the Eight of Wands. I'm sorry about that, guys. Let's clarify the Eight of Wands here. We have the Hanged Man in reverse, yeah. That's very fast forward movement through enlightenment or through the awareness of something that just is like an aha moment. I think you're really strongly connecting to maybe the throat chakra. I feel like it's crown, third eye, and throat. Like I feel like you're really learning to be okay with what it is that you have to say. And I think a lot of times you're actually being guided to say what it is that you need to say. So I'm just going to fast forward and jump to the far-reaching outcome and advice because I feel like that's the best thing to clarify. Let's clarify judgment here. We have the World in reverse. Yeah, there was a cycle that wasn't completed, so that's why you're coming back to do this. Let's clarify temperance. Knight of Swords in reverse. You might have been running from it from a really long time and not even realizing you were doing that. Let's clarify strength. And we have strength clarified by strength. Let's clarify the Ten of Swords in reverse. We have the Page of Swords. Let's clarify the Ace of Swords. We have the High Priestess. And let's clarify the Moon. We have the Magician and the Empress. Like I said, I think now that you're moving through and you're dealing with these really tough issues and you're kind of going back to the beginning to set wrongs right or to find what it is that you were looking for to really achieve that healing, I think now your manifestations are going to be able to start coming through around the new moon in Taurus. And if they're not there by that time, I think that you need to utilize the energy of that moon to set your intentions in motion. Because I'll be honest, when I pulled out, or when the Magician and the Empress came out, the Empress was in reverse, but I felt the need to turn her upright because I feel like that's what's going to be happening. You're going to be coming out of a position of not feeling as secure and stable as you once were into having that security and stability through your own actions. Because that's what all of this is. This is about you having the bravery and the courage to stand up, to correct within yourself what it is that you've dealt with, what has been done to you, and you're pulling out those swords to find your truth. You're trying to look at things from a higher perspective or from a more intuitive perspective, or for seeing everything exactly for what it is. And you're coming out of it with this really amazing knowledge and this amazing sense of worth. I mean, you literally, I have chills right now. You literally were the key all along. You were sitting there going, man, who has the key to unlock this lock? You had it the whole fucking time. Like, literally, you had it the whole time. So let's just pull some overall happy little clarification or confirmation cards. We have Spirit. Let's get two more. I'm so sorry for the noise. We have Bleed. So there's that healing. You have to let something bleed out, or, you know, kind of, you have to let whatever is in out. And then we have Forgive. Forgive the way in which you either hurt yourself or forgive those who hurt you. And we have Awareness. Oh, this is a good reading. We have Open the Window, so use your higher mind in order to find solutions and answers. I'm so sorry for the noise. have slow and steady. So even though